Greetings everybody and Happy New Year. So I'm doing things a little bit differently this year with my newsletter videos. Some of you have been subscribers to my e-newsletter for about as long as it's been around. I started sending them out about 11 years ago when I was still new here at Canaccord Genuity. A couple of years ago, I started putting videos at the top of each issue where I talk about just some things that are maybe pertinent in the news, or provide a little bit of free advice around investing or financial planning, stuff that I think is useful to anyone that's getting these newsletters. And going forward, I'm going to include these on my YouTube channel as well. Of course, anybody who's just watching this video on my YouTube channel, they might not have heard of my e-newsletters. So if you're interested in subscribing, anybody can subscribe. Just go to the link that is in the description of this video. You can also go to my website, www.muhs.ca, scroll down to the bottom of any page, and subscribe. These newsletters are not super salesy. I really just want to use them as a way to get my content out there, as well as share a lot of other good stuff that I found online. Here's my latest one. So, obviously I'll have a video at the top of each one. I can't travel through time, so this video is not yet on the email. But as you can see, my latest blog post, if you just want to be informed of when I've put out either a new blog post or if Justin and I have put out a new podcast, you'll of course be informed about them. But also a lot of other good stuff that I read online each month. If I really like it and I think it's a use to most investors in Canada, I will publish a link to the articles on my newsletter as well. That's articles, videos, podcasts, what have you. And of course, for both clients and non-clients, it might be useful to know when you might be getting your tax slips in the next couple of months. So this month's issue includes a rundown of the very popular tax slips that most Canadians will receive if they have taxable investments. A section that I started, I think, about a year ago. I just see so many questionable investments out there, bad financial advice, and then outright scams and schemes. Scams being instances where people are outright taking your money, and schemes just being just weird investment schemes that might work out, might not, but a lot of people end up losing a lot of money in them, partially because they just don't understand all the risks that are involved. So I created this section. This month I have just a couple of bad advice type of items. One being a new type of investment that I've discovered out there through a call with a fund wholesaler. Single stock covered call writing ETFs. So these are ETFs that just basically own one stock, usually a fairly risky, growthy stock, and then write covered calls to generate an income stream. And so I touch a little bit on, first of all, why would anyone want something like that? What are the weird investor biases that would compel someone to buy something that pays a yield like that, a taxable yield, mind you. And the fact that the fund companies out there, there are many funds, many investment products out there. They're not always there to be to your benefit, really. And sometimes fund companies throw a bunch of spaghetti against the wall, and they see what sticks, and they charge enough fees that's profitable for them. And so I give a little bit of inside baseball on kind of what I see there. Also, I shared this on my social media a few weeks ago. The Plain Bagel, he did a really excellent little expose on some companies out there. He calls them sketchy companies, but let's call them venture companies, very popular here in Western Canada, that pay YouTubers to promote their stock. And it's surprising how much they pay to even just get a few hundred views or a few thousand views. And two, the either lack of disclosure or just very faint disclosure when it comes to the fact that you're watching a video on YouTube talking about a stock, endorsing a stock, when it might not be clear that the person speaking has been paid to do so. Anyways, I found that interesting, and just how prevalent it is, especially in Western Canada. And there's another great an interview of the same guy, Richard Coffin, by The Wealthy Barber. And The Wealthy Barber, many of you know him, Dave Chilton. He's was on Dragon's Den and has started a podcast himself in the last little while. And he's already interviewed a couple of good guests. And I found his interview with Richard Coffin, the guy who goes by the name of The Plain Bagel on YouTube. Found it quite interesting, talking a lot about just the scourge of influencers out there. There's, again, a bane to my existence as well. There are those of us who are licensed, accredited advisors, and then there are many, many people with many, many more followers than I have. If you're on my YouTube channel, you can see I do not have thousands of followers yet. I'd appreciate if you hit subscribe and we start growing that list. But the ones who have the most eyeballs are the ones giving some really, really sketchy advice out there and doing things like promoting sketchy companies. So lastly, the last part of my newsletter, kind of boring, GICs and savings accounts. I put this on here for one, I have clients that themselves invest in GICs, so they can kind of keep up to what the changes are from month to month in rates. They're not surprised all of a sudden when a GIC comes due and they're not getting as much interest anymore. That trend has been downward in the last little while. And also it gives us a gauge of what the risk-free rate is. And I think that is really important if we get back to the scams and schemes out there. Anytime you're earning a return that is higher than the risk-free rate, whatever that might be, a year or two ago, the risk-free rate was quite high. It was 5-ish%. Today, it's getting lower and lower. As you're earning higher than the risk-free rate, the more risk you're taking and the more chance of losing. And there's no exception to this correlation. And because people sometimes believe they're getting a good deal or some kind of unicorn investment or something, that is how people end up losing money. When they see an investment offering 15% returns, no risk, well, there is a lot of risk to something like that. And once you understand that, you can help either avoid those types of investments or otherwise just be smarter about getting into them. So that's it. I will forward my latest email to anyone who's a new subscriber in the month of January. If you subscribe, you will get a series of automatic emails, which give you a little bit of an overview also of what the newsletter is all about, and also send you some of my past, I call it my greatest hits of blog posts. All I think very informative stuff on behavioral investing, financial planning, and just evidence-based investing. And yeah, so stay tuned for next month. Take care.